Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back. This is Force, and here today I am going to try something a little bit different. This is not your usual fare. This is not the usual gameplay video. I'm not playing and goofing around. I'm not playing and explaining what a game's all about. Today I just want to talk with you guys. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I've always wanted to do something like this. Part of the reasons I love doing podcasts was I loved the idea of just sort of having conversation, just having a discussion, talking about something. And it's something that I've always been very interested in, and I think that I've just never thought about a proper platform to do it. And I think this could be a good fit. So we're going to try something out. We're just going to talk about a topic. Today, what I actually want to talk about is something that's recently come back into my life, and that is exercise. Trying to, I don't know, not just sit down for 12 hours a day, which don't think of this, please. I don't want these to be preachy. I don't want them to come across as preachy. It's more, if anything, reminders to myself of things I should or want to be doing, or just discussions of things that I find interesting. So yes, today it is going to be exercise, and I want to talk with you, I guess, a little bit about my journey through here, and we'll have some gameplay running in the background of whatever game. I guess it really doesn't matter. Sorry to whatever game that ends up being played, because it's going to be super, super dismissive. It doesn't matter what games being played. So here's the deal. When I was younger, I was very physically active. As a teenager, and even in my early 20s, in my college years, I was all about trying to eat properly, managing my calories, and this was actually mostly for muscle gain, because I'm sort of a naturally thin person. So it was a big part of my life. I was going to the gym multiple times a week. I was making sure that I'm eating a ton and trying to make sure that those are good calories as well. Eating things that aren't terrible for my body, because I learned a long time ago just the simple fact that your cells replace themselves over time, and they replace themselves with the fuel that you get from the things that you consume. So that sort of set off a trigger in my head to be like, well, if I'm like eating pizza nonstop, then my cells are using the contents of that pizza to replace themselves. So I'm like basically made out of pizza. So there's a period of time where I was very serious about that, making sure I'm eating my fruits and vegetables and all that. This was many moons ago. And then sometime in my early to mid 20s, well, I can pinpoint it actually. It was when I started my YouTube career. So it's been going on 5 years now that I just, nope, craps given. Zero craps given at all. Not exercising whatsoever. Sitting down for, I kid you not, I've talked about sort of the time that goes into being a YouTuber or Twitch streamer or anything like that. And it's like on average 9-10 hours a day of just sitting in the chair. So really not caring too much about what I eat, going out to eat a lot, which a lot of times when you get to-go food and stuff, it's just soaked in sodium and just all sorts of things that aren't necessarily as good for you as if you're cooking from home and you can see all those fresh ingredients. So it's been multiple years of that. It's been about 5 years of that. And, I'm not a dummy. I know that this isn't great for me, but I think it's easy to just push things aside. And when you don't think about them, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm always focusing like, hey, I got work to do. Or maybe you work in an office yourself and you're like, well, I can't, I've got to, write all these reports and I've got to make all these phone calls, and then I only have a half an hour for lunch. So I'm running down and I'm picking up something quick because that's what I have to do. And then I get home from work and, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. I got to take care, I've got kids to take care of. I got to walk my dog. I've got to pick up the house. I've got to do the day. Like there's so much in everyone's life, really. Doesn't matter what point of life you're in, what you've got going on. There's so many things to be doing that a lot of times exercise or even just eating properly, which is, a good, I don't know exact percentages, but I think they say that's like 80 to 90% of the battle of trying to stay healthy is just making sure your nutrition is good. And then that extra bit of percentage will come from getting some exercise. It's so easy to push all that stuff aside. I'm a living testament to that. Someone who was steadfast and knew what I should be doing and spent a lot of time doing it, just forgot about it for 5 or 6 years. And I've recently started to come back around to it. And I think it helps to sort of just talk about the good things, like what it does for you. You know, I mentioned briefly the sort of very hyperbolic, right? The idea that I'm made out of pizza if I just eat pizza all the time. But it's an important concept to think about. Again, you're what you were made up out of. It's like a car. This is a dumb analogy. When I heard it when I was a kid, I was like, "You're an idiot. This is a dumb analogy." But it works because it's true. You're like a car, and the fuel that your body uses to complete its tasks comes entirely from the food that you eat. So do you want a fuel? Would you put like a fake fuel, like a garbage quality fuel in your vehicle when you could put in a good fuel that's gonna make it run smoothly? It's not gonna mess up with the engine. It's not gonna clog anything up. There's a good sort of example. Like clogging up your engine with junk. That's like when you eat terrible food, you're clogging up your arteries, the things in your body that help the blood flow. Let me tell you, if you don't know, blood flow is important. It kind of lets us do it kind of lets us live, right? So the nutrition side of thing, I think goes without saying. Everyone knows that you should try to eat well. You should try to stay healthy for a myriad of reasons. But then the exercise thing. I want to touch on the exercise thing. So I recently came across this study browsing Reddit, as I do too much, and I need to start browsing Reddit standing up. That's like I have to make that. I have to decide to do that. So I was browsing Reddit, and I saw this article that was posted recently by the British Journal of Sports Medicine, concluding that 30 minutes of physical activity 6 days a week, total of 3 hours a week of physical activity, 30 minutes, 6 days a week, is linked to a 40% lower risk of death. Now, this was a study that was done they had somewhere over like 15,000 initial participants, but then when they did the checkup, they had a sample size of 6,000 people, and they found that people who engaged in about 30 minutes of physical activity 6 days a week had a 40% lower risk of death. It was basically better than quitting smoking. So you could be like a chain smoker, and they'd say, okay, you can keep smoking if you want, but if you get in these 30 minutes of physical activity 6 days a week, you're gonna have a 40% lower risk of death. And in the end, I suppose that if you compound that with if you were to quit smoking on top of that, it's like, wow, you're gonna live forever. No, but so that was an interesting study, and that sort of reminded me. Well, everyone always says you should get exercise, but I guess it's easy to forget the benefits. So I just did a quick little Google search, and I'll give you guys links to anything. We'll cite our sources here in the video description below. Just a couple of obvious things you probably already know, but it's good to be reminded of. Number one, exercise controls weight. As you know, being over what is considered a healthy body weight can have all sorts of negative ramifications for you. And then just the simple fact that the expenditure of calories, you burning calories, expending more calories than you are consuming, if you have a sort of a negative part of that equation there, if it's a net negative, then your weight loss is going to result. You're going to burn off some of that fat. So, exercise controlling your weight, great. That's a great thing. It also combats health conditions and diseases. Being active, boosting your good cholesterol, what is known as high-density lipoprotein, HDL, and then decreasing bad cholesterol. These two things combined are going to increase your blood flow and decrease cardiovascular diseases, and they can also help prevent stroke, diabetes, depression, certain types of cancer. That increase of blood flow, we talked about blood flow earlier, not wanting to clog up your veins, your arteries, but then just the actually being active, increasing your heart rate is going to increase your blood flow, which can stave off a wide variety of things. And I also found it interesting to see that, yes, it can actually help stave off cancer as well, certain types of cancer. For the ladies out there watching, I do believe breast cancer is something that will be reduced as well from exercise. So great things. Improving your mood. Being active stimulates the chemicals in your brain that actually make you feel happier. And then when that's happening, you can feel better about yourself, which can sort of compound and further increase your mood. And then along with that, being active, increasing your energy. You're getting your blood pumping, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the tissues in your body and helping your cardiovascular system work more efficiently. All of this results in you getting more energy for the day. And actually, if you're concerned about the appearance of your skin, it's the same general concept that getting nutrients to your skin is going to make you glow or whatever. So many reasons to be active. And again, I think it just helps to sort of be reminded. It helps for me, and once more, I think part of the reason I want to do this sort of series, not beyond just enjoying this process of, like, this is almost like a mini podcast. So beyond enjoying this process, there's lots of things beyond the sphere of gaming that I just like to talk about, things that I'm interested in. And I think to sort of have a collaboration of these two things that I love, and it's not all just going to be health and fitness stuff. I'm not going to tell you every time I run one of these episodes where we're just chatting to each other. I'm not going to tell you, make sure you get off your butt, but I'm going to talk about things that intrigue me, and this just happens to be one of them. It happens to be something that's pertinent to my life right now, something that I'm sort of coming back to, and I thought it'd be nice to talk about it. So here we are. We're sitting here talking about it. And speaking of sitting, in addition to the notion that, we want to try to eat better so that our cells are replacing themselves and our body's being fueled with great stuff, we want to get exercise for any one of those number of things that I talked about in the positive benefits of exercising, and then many, many more. We just sort of touched on a few things. But then also, we should try to monitor our sitting. Man, oh man, I sit down way too much. And over the past few months, I've started to do basically what it was suggested of me after a bit of research was that you should probably try to stand up for every hour you sit, and stand up and walk around for even just 2 minutes is great. So there's two great things that this does for you. Number one, when you're sitting down constantly, you actually run the risk of blood clots in your legs, and those are scary things. Do a quick Google search about what blood clots can mean to you. You don't want those. You don't want blood clots. And even just the act of constantly sitting down has been linked to, as you would expect, increased obesity. It's just not I guess, natural. Your body doesn't want to be sitting down all day. That's not why it was built, Otherwise, we would be built just like chairs. If our body wanted to constantly be you know what I mean? Just getting up, even just for a couple minutes for every hour that you sit, it's going to, give you all those benefits. It's going to keep your blood flow going. It's going to prevent blood clots. But the secondary benefit of this, something else that I found was very helpful for me, was there were several months last year where every day after work I was getting a headache, and I attributed it to stress. And I said, well, I've got so much going on. I'm trying to do these YouTube videos. I want to do a good job. I want this content to come out good. People are watching it. Sometimes people aren't watching it. I just figured I was overstressed, and I was just getting headaches because of that. And I noticed my upper back was starting to hurt as well. But I came to find that the headaches were actually a result of just staring at the screen nonstop for 8+ hours a day. And there's sort of a dual benefit to this idea of taking a 2-minute walk. If you're sitting down right now watching this video, just get up and watch it. Get up and pace around your room. If you're just listening to this video on your phone, why don't you just do a little walk, even just in a circle? It doesn't even matter. You got some stairs around you, you're feeling frisky, walk up those stairs. That's great too. But getting up a couple minutes an hour also has that side benefit of not staring at that screen. So the idea is that when your eyes are focused on this screen that's just a couple of feet away from your face, and they don't get a chance to adjust at all. Normally, when if we're working outside, or if we're way back in the day, we're being hunter-gatherers and we're outside, our eyes are constantly adjusting. It's got the sunlight as well coming in. All of this stuff is happening, and your eyes aren't used to being fixed on one set location for so long, for months and months and years at a time, and that can cause eye strain, which can result in headaches. So I found that just getting up and walking around for a couple minutes, besides trying to avoid blood clots and get that circulation going, also helps reduce that eye strain. Give your eyes a chance to adjust. And I guess the best thing you could even do in this sort of situation is maybe either go outside or open up a window and try to look at things far in the distance. It's going to sort of counterbalance. Your eyes have been staring at a screen 2 feet away from you for how God knows how long, and then you spend some time looking at a far distance. It lets your eyes sort of readjust and do what they were naturally meant to do, which was not just stare at one fixed location 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not what they're meant to do. And all of this, I'm taking to heart. And maybe you enjoyed this conversation, maybe you didn't, but I hope you got something from it at the very least. I hope it was somewhat educational for you. And if you already knew all this, then you could just sit here and correct me on probably the numerous things that I got wrong. That's fine too. I'm all about spreading proper information. So if there's something that I said wrong that you want to correct, let the internet know. We'll vote it to the top. It'll be a grand old time. This is a collaborative effort. and I thank you for taking part in it. So thanks guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this. It's something a little bit different. I'm probably gonna keep going with it because I'm enjoying this right now. I could probably just keep talking right now, but I'd like to split this up and to focus on individual topics. Today, we talked about the importance of getting up, eating right, and just trying to stay healthy. Why don't you stay healthy if you can? I like you. I'd like you to stick around. So try not to die on me, all right? Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.